For Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, the cruelty is always the point. Look at Elon Musk's time in government. He wasn't going after waste, fraud, and abuse. He was going after agencies that held his companies accountable, stealing billions of dollars and trying to publicly break government so we trusted it less. That is what Donald Trump and his movement want to accomplish. They want us to distrust government so that they can take it apart and give it to their billionaire friends. But that has backfired as we learn more about the damage that Donald Trump and Elon Musk have done, not just in America, but around the world. And it was that damage that left Joe Rogan so stunned that he called out Donald Trump on his own show. We are going to get into it, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into what Joe Rogan had to say in a conversation with Bono, I want to start out with a clip from Greg Kazar, who called out the damage that Elon Musk would be doing a few months ago, and it's important to take a look at.
I'm going to do something that I've never done in a congressional hearing before, and that is plead for help from the American people, plead for help from my Republican colleagues on something that we actually all agree on, because lives are at stake right now. I'm going to start by describing the facts on the ground. Millions of people are at risk of dying of starvation in areas of the world where Democrats and Republicans have already agreed and committed to feeding them with American-grown food for humanitarian reasons and for global stability. But yesterday, I spoke with people in charge of warehouses in Sudan and Ethiopia, warehouses full of food, but because of Doge, that food is trapped in the warehouse out of reach of starving and dying moms and kids. In those two countries alone, 150,000 children and moms are at risk of dying this month if that food is not delivered from the warehouse to them right up the road. Everyone agrees that's not supposed to happen. Republicans voted for this food, and Democrats voted for this food to get out. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the food should go out as part of his life-saving waiver. Doge Chairwoman Marjorie Taylor Greene started this hearing by saying that life-saving food programs should still be running. We have paid for the food, and we have shipped it, and it is sitting trapped in the warehouse because Doge is blocking the payments needed to get the food out to the people who need it. So here's what that means. It means that kids are dying, and more will die tomorrow, of severe acute malnutrition. If you want nightmares, just Google severe acute malnutrition and look at the photos. The way that healthcare workers determine if a kid is dying of this is they measure their bicep. And if their bicep is less than 4.5 inches around, then that means you could die of starvation tomorrow. Think of a kid's arm fitting through this hole. Think of your kid's arm fitting through this hole. These kids could die tomorrow. You've heard today about the waiver for life-saving humanitarian assistance, and all I'm asking is for Rubio's waiver to be made real. People watching at home, you can do something about this.
This is what we knew would happen. This is what we knew would happen. These were the kids that Elon Musk was stealing the most minuscule amount of funding from in the name of saving money. All the while, he takes billions of dollars from our government to build rockets that explode and fund companies that we don't benefit from. Only Elon. That's the corporate communism. Elon Musk gets the money at no risk and then makes a bunch of profit. What do we get out of it? A billionaire who has more money to spend buying up elections. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a great trade for America. And it is the human cost of the Elon Musk Doge run that is so shocking, and that Joe Rogan called out, as we can see right here.
Like the whole thing is, there's a lot of fraud, a lot of money laundering, but also we help the world. And when you're talking about making wells for people in the Congo to get fresh water, when you talk about food and medicine to places that don't have access, like, no way that should have been cut out. And that should have been clear before they make these radical cuts. Like, there's got to be a way to keep aid and not have fraud. And you can't say we're going to kill everything so that there's no fraud. But then you're killing all the good, and you're doing it without letting anybody know it's going to happen. So it's not like they had 3 years to prepare. Let's build a new infrastructure. Let's make sure that everything's set up. They wanted change, and they want to change quickly. And due to the nature of American politics, they have about 2 years before the midterms, right? So everything has to get done as quickly as possible. You have to show a growth in GDP. You have to show that the economy's booming again under these ideas. Make America first, tariffs for the world, bring back American manufacturing, and this mad rush to do it all as quickly as possible while cutting out as much waste as possible.
Yeah.
But the ironic thing is, even though Elon Musk has proposed all these things and the Doge Committee has proposed all these things, they've made no cuts in terms of the budget. They've cut nothing.
It's
they vote
such
against
a tiny part. I mean, if it's big government or whatever, people want to shrink. I get the instinct, but the life-saving part,
Yes.
it's like the little finger of the giant.
Right, exactly.
I mean, and I've met all these people, and I'm sure there's part of it. You know, I think about 10% of it goes to things like governance and, you know, human rights organizations. You might say that's political, and we shouldn't be involved in that. And there's reforms, I imagine, that might have been necessary. But just have the reforms. But to destroy, to vandalize. I mean, it felt like with glee, these life support systems were being pulled out of the walls. And I was reading today, you know, it's like, I think it's in Christianity Today, and they're just talking, I think it's called Christian Relief, one of these organizations. And they're dealing with malnourished kids. And they are having the conversation now about, we don't have the funds, we have to choose which child to pull off the IVs. And it just seems to me like a kind of, I don't know if evil is a strong word, too strong a word, but what we know about pure evil is it rejoices in the deaths, you know, of the squandering of human life.
If even Joe Rogan can recognize that the speed at which Elon Musk and Donald Trump went through these cuts just fundamentally showed that they weren't interested in actual change, that they were only interested in the publicity stunt, that they didn't care about who they were impacting, is incredibly important. I think the message of incompetence is one that really hits home with people when we talk about what Donald Trump's administration is doing. This is someone who promised on day one that he would be making changes that would make your life more affordable, that would make your life better, that would improve the country. None of that has happened. This is someone without a plan. In fact, Donald Trump admitted yesterday, as we talked about in a video covering his speech at a steel mill in Pittsburgh, that he's just making up his tariffs on the fly. He has no plan. He has no ideas. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's the man with the most broken brain in America using whatever he has left up here to just control our economy in a way that's tanking it. That is something that should scare all of us, especially because these people Donald Trump has surrounded himself with, one, they don't understand government, but two, they hate it. This isn't about saving money. It is all, again, a big publicity stunt for Donald Trump. And the latest and best example of that comes as we approach his military birthday parade for dictator Donald, which, by the way, gonna cost a pretty penny. Does Donald Trump care about that waste? Absolutely not. But it's more than just the cost. Jen Psaki broke down some of the other factors that just show this is all a sham.
And the vice chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff reportedly told colleagues at the Pentagon that the parade that Trump wanted was what dictators do. Well, that was then, and this is now. And now Donald Trump has an administration full of yes men and yes women, including a former weekend cable host running the Pentagon. And so Donald Trump will finally get the parade he's always dreamed of. Now, to be clear, plans have been in the works for a while now to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. But at some point this year, those plans changed. to include the massive parade in D.C. on June 14th, which also happens to be Trump's 79th birthday. Go figure. Now, preparations for that event are already underway, and it will reportedly include about 130 vehicles, including tanks, armored fighting vehicles, trucks towing artillery launchers, 50 helicopters, and 9,000 troops. Those troops will be housed in government buildings and will be sleeping on cots and in their own sleeping bags. According to NBC News, they will also be expected to dine on ready-to-eat rations during their stay here for this parade. I imagine those accommodations have something to do with cost cutting. This is, of course, the administration that likes to brag about its focus on cutting wasteful spending. And yet the whole thing is still expected to cost as much as $45 million. A figure, by the way, that doesn't include paying to fix damaged roads, cleanup, security. But that's actually not the only cost of Donald Trump's strongman vanity parade. See, for more than 3 decades, veterans of the Vietnam War and their families have held an annual ceremony at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., to honor those who served and died. And this year, for the first time, that ceremony is being forced to move out of D.C. to make room for Trump's military parade. This year, the ceremony for Vietnam War vets will be held a few miles away in Virginia and feature a 3/4 scale reproduction of the iconic Wall Memorial. And while many who plan to attend still feel the gesture from the organizers of the ceremony is genuine, and it certainly is, some also feel like it won't be the same. One veteran speaking with Stars and Stripes said, quote, "Visiting the wall at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is sacred. This is like putting up a model of the Statue of Liberty." A wife of a veteran told the Washington Post, I feel anger. I don't feel anger. I think I'm just really sad, but I'm still going to honor my husband. And another veteran's wife said, "I respect the 250th anniversary of the Army. That is not a small deal. But our heroes are being shoved aside. This is no way to honor the Army or our country." Amen to that.
The hypocrisy is staggering, but expected. We should expect it at this point. But that doesn't mean we are not going to be calling it out. We are certainly going to be on this show every single day. This is a moment in which we have so much agency. We can change people's minds. If Joe Rogan is having his mind changed, if Joe Rogan is telling his audience about the failures of Doge, the failures of Elon Musk, the damage that these cuts have done, I don't think there's anyone in America, or there shouldn't be, who's not a psycho, who doesn't think we should spend a little bit of money making sure kids around the world aren't starving. It is a beneficial program, not only to the political well-being of America's standing in the world, but have some humanity. And I think we can talk that way. Well, we don't need to, break down the specifics of each agency and who's direct. It's just about humanity. Isn't this what America is for? Let's take that mantle back. We're going to be trying to do so on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.